Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are going to do something slightly different. We are going to work on a pattern that I haven't got published on my blog yet, but I've got a fantastic feedback about this blanket and I thought, why not make the video tutorial for you before I publish the pattern? So if you are interested, you can just make a start on it. So for this project, I used super chunky yarn hobby udon in 5 different colors, and I worked the blanket in squares that measure about 9.5 by 9.5 inches thereabout. It depends also on how you block it, and these were 14 stitches by 11 rows. So for the blanket I've used roughly 1 and a bit of each ball. So if you want to use up all your yarn, you can make the blanket bigger. However, this is what the dimensions that I was going for. And so in total the blanket measured about 46 by 46 inches, which is about 117 centimeters by 170 centimeters. So you will also need a 15 millimeter Tunisian crochet hook. I got these from Denise. I was searching for larger hooks, even larger than 15 millimeters. I couldn't find any, so this was what I've used for my project. But if you do have larger Tunisian crochet hook, you can easily go up to 17 or even 20 millimeters. This yarn is loosely spun, so it's quite bouncy. It has got the potential to kind of fill up the space. You have different options for the size of your hook. The colors of hobby udon that I used for my project were number 2, which is off-white, so that's this color. Then I used number 13, which is this kind of gold ochre color. Number 42, which is cranberry. This is this beautiful red color, so you can find it on the website as cranberry. Number 60, black cherry. So black cherry is this. And number 54, which is pink berry smoothie. So this is this beautiful pink color. So without further ado, let's dive in. So the first part of the blanket are squares in this sequence. So we've got the off-white, black cherry, ochre, cranberry and pink berry smoothie. So we need to start with this color first. So we will start with a slip knot. Then you insert the hook through the loop and we will start chaining. So for the dimensions of the actual blanket, you will chain in 14. I'm going to chain less because I'm going to make a miniature version of the blanket just for this tutorial. So we will chain by yarning over and pulling through the loop on the hook. So that counts as a chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So you will continue chaining up to chain 14, and then we are going to change color. So for my project, I'm only going to chain 6. So that's my 6th chain, and now I'm going to be changing to the second color, which is the cherry. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick up the second yarn and I'm going to make a small loop that will go on the hook, and we pull it through like so. You can just tighten up the last stitch of your first color, and then we are going to chain with the second color. So we will chain 6 again. For my sample, for your sample, you will chain 14 again. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You will chain up to number 14. Now we can change to the third color, which is ochre. Again, make a loop, pull it through, and don't worry about this chains being a bit loose here where you change the color. Once we have the first row, this will even out, and you can tighten up the stitches to make them even. And again, I will chain 6 and you will chain 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now it's time to change to the next color, which is cranberry. I'm going to get my cranberry here. Pull it through the last chain in the previous color. And again, you will chain 14. I will chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now it's time to change to the last color. The last color is the beautiful pink berry smoothie, and you just follow the same process. Pull the loop through the last loop in the previous color and chain 14, and I will chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that's it. We've got the foundation chain done. Now we are ready for the row number 1. Okay, now we are going to go ahead and work the row number 1, which is the foundation row in Tunisian crochet. And throughout this project we will only be using Tunisian simple stitches, so it's very easy. And as far as the difficulty goes, working the foundation chain in different colors was perhaps the most difficult part of the whole project. So if you are a beginner and this is your first Tunisian crochet project, you are over the most difficult part of the project. So what we are going to do now, for the foundation row, we will be working into the back bumps of your chain stitches. And you find them by turning your chain around, and you will see here, you will have these bumps here, the back bumps, and you're going to insert your hook through this. So you will insert the hook from front to back under the back bump, yarn over and pull up a loop like so, and you're going to repeat this for every chain of your foundation row. So because you've chained 14, you will end up with 14 loops on your hook in the same color. I've chained 6, so I will have 6 loops in my color. So here I've got all my loops in the pink berry smoothie for now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this color, tighten up these transitions a little bit, pick up the red, turn around my red part of the chain, of the foundation chain, and I'm going to do exactly the same. So when we change color in Tunisian crochet, we don't want to have gaps between the colors. So we are not just going to drop the pink here and pick up the red. What we want to do is we want to cross the colors over. So you want to cross the colors over to fill up the gaps, so you don't have gaps in your project. And we are going to go through the same process as for the pink berry smoothie. So we will work under the back bumps of your chain stitches. So you will have then 14 loops in pink berry. Now we are working our loops in cranberry. So after you finish this section, you will have 14 loops on your hook in cranberry. So I'm on my last one, like so. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops. You will have 14 if you are working to the dimensions of the original sample that I made. Again, I'm just going to tighten up the loops slightly and start working in the third color, which is ochre. Again, we are crossing the colors to avoid gaps in our project and working through the back bumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I've at the end of my ochre section, you will still have a few more stitches, or a few more chains rather, to go before changing to the black cherry. Again, we want to tighten up the chains slightly, cross over my colors, and continue working in the back bumps. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, like so. I'm at the end of my black cherry section. I've got 6 loops. You will have 14, and then we continue with the last color, the off-white. Again, we need to cross the colors over to avoid any gaps in our project and work the last 14 chains. I'll have my last 6 chains. Okay, I'm on the last one. Okay, so now we have all our loops of the foundation row on the hook. Now we are going to work them off the hook to finish off the first row. So we are going to work return pass, and return pass is worked by yarning over, pulling through 1, and yarn over, pull through 2. And we'll keep on going, working yarn over, pull through 2 all the way through in the off-white until we get to the next color. So once the second loop from the tip of your hook is in the other color, that's where you need to change. So now I'm going to change to the black cherry. Again, I drop my off-white, pick up the black cherry, making sure that I'm going to cross over the colors at the back, and yarn over, pull through 2, continue working yarn over, pull through 2 up to the next color change, like so. And I need to change to the ochre. Here, work my stitches or loops in this color of the hook. Like so, until I get to the cranberry. Change my yarn to cranberry, work these stitches off. Like so, until the next color, and work my last few loops off until you have only 1 loop left on the hook, and this will be your first stitch or your edge stitch of the next row. For row number 2, we are going to start working Tunisian simple stitches in each stitch, changing colors as per our sections. So Tunisian simple stitch is worked by inserting the hook from right to left under the front vertical bar, yarn over and pull up a loop. And we are going to repeat the same stitch into all the stitches across the row, all the way up to the end, and we are going to do something slightly different for the very last stitch. So I've got my 5 loops on the hook. I've got one more because I'm only working 6 stitches. You will have few more to go up to your number 14 per each color section. Once you get to the next color, we are going to do the same what we did for the foundation row. You drop your color and you cross over the next color to lock the color in place, and you continue working Tunisian simple stitches in each stitch. So from now on it's very simple because you are going to be repeating working stitches the same way, just changing color, and just really focus on playing with the color rather than having to learn difficult stitches or stitch combinations. Okay, I'm getting to the next section. If you feel like the loop of the last stitch is a little bit too loose, you can just pull on the color, even out the stitches, cross over your colors, and work the next section. Okay, I'm on the last stitch, changing to my last color per this row. Okay, and I'm going to tighten up the last stitch a little bit, cross my colors at the back, and work 5 Tunisian simple stitches. Okay, so 4, 5, and then to work the last stitch is we need to find the last 2 strands of the very last stitch. One will be on the left, one will be on the right, and you are going to go with your hook under both of these. So insert the hook under both of these strands of yarn, yarn over, pull up a loop like so. So I've got the last 6th stitch or 6th loop on my hook, and we are going to work standard return pass by yarning over, pulling through 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2, changing colors as we learned in the previous row. So just to recap, once you've got the second loop in the next color, you will then drop your original color, cross it at the back, pick up the new color, yarn over, pull through 2, so on through all the stitches of this section up to the next color change, and you will repeat the same process across the row, changing colors as per your sections. So this was our row number 2. So for my little sample, I'm going to work 2 more rows in this color sequence. If you are following the pattern of the original sample, then you will need to work a few more rows because each square in each color has got 11 rows. So you will continue working rows 3 up to the row 11 in the same color, in the same sequence, and I'll meet you on the row number 12 for you. It's going to be slightly less for me, and I'll show you how to change the colors across the whole row. Welcome back to the next section. So we are now going to be working the next set of squares in different colors. So this will be the sequence. So we'll have the black cherry, cranberry, pink berry smoothie, off-white, and ochre. Okay, so because we're going to be starting with ochre, we will need to attach the ochre at the beginning of our project. So at the moment, I've got all my yarn still attached to the yarn ball. So what I need to do is I need to cut the colors, leaving enough to weave in the ends, so it's recommended that you will leave about 8 to 10 inches. And now we are going to rearrange the colors. Okay, so we are, as per these tiny little snippets of yarn, we need to have the ochre at the beginning. So the way we change color in Tunisian crochet is we change the color when we have the last 2 loops of the previous return pass on the hook. So I've got the last 2 loops, so I've just undone the last stitch. I will then again make a loop from the color that I want to use, put it on the hook, pull through, and that's it. Now the first stitch of my next row is in the color that I need. Okay, so again, now what I like to do is when I start the color this way at the beginning of the row, I like to secure it in a place. So what I like to do is I wrap the working end of the new color around the short ends, and then we are going to do exactly the same for the next few stitches, working Tunisian simple stitch up to when I get to the next section where I'm going to attach the next color. So here I was previously working in cranberry, now it's going to be off-white. So I'm going to get my off-white, make a loop. I'm going to insert the hook into next stitch. As for Tunisian simple stitch, I put the loop on the hook and yarn over, and again I'm going to wrap my working yarn around the previous color and the short tail of the color that I'm going to be using, working Tunisian simple stitches up to the next color change. So this was ochre, now we want this to be the pink berry smoothie. So I get my yarn, the same, make a loop, go into the next stitch as for Tunisian simple stitch, yarn over with the new color, pull it through, secure your yarn ends by wrapping around, and work the next stitches in the color up to the next color change. So here I'm changing to cranberry, going to get my cranberry. The same process, we repeat the same process, change the color, secure my yarn, and working in cranberry. Like so. And now the last color change, which will be black cherry. So I'm going to get that. Create a loop, pull it through, secure your yarn, work up to the last stitch, and then work an end stitch and standard return pass. You know the drill. We will be then changing colors as we've already learned in the previous color section. So you will repeat this for next 10 rows again, so that you have 11 rows in the same color. Each square has got 14 stitches, so you've got squares in color formed by 11 rows by 14 stitches. And if you feel that this first stitch where you were changing color is a bit unruly, just tag on it. You can adjust the size of your stitches if they become uneven, as you go, because some of them they do get a bit loose and we don't want it. This will also improve once you block your project, once it's ready. So if the stitches don't look perfectly even, don't worry about it just now. We are still manipulating the yarn, we are still moving it around, pulling on it, so it will not look perfect until we finish our project. So I'm going to let you to work the next 10 rows on your own, and I'll meet you back for the next color change for the next set of squares. Welcome back. Now we are on our third square section, or the rows of squares. So we've got 2 sections done. Now following on, this is the color sequence going from right to left. So we're going to have cranberry, black cherry, off-white, ochre, and pink berry smoothie. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, here where I've got ochre, now I'm going to have red. So we are going to be attaching the colors exactly as we explained in the previous section. So go ahead, attach your colors, and then continue working 11 rows in those colors, and I'll meet you on the color section number 4. Welcome back. We've got 3 color sections done already. Well done. We are more than halfway through the project. So the next sequence of the colors going from right to left will be off-white, ochre, black cherry, pink berry smoothie, and cranberry. So again, go ahead, attach your colors, work your 11 rows, and I'll meet you back for the final color section. Welcome back. We've just finished the 4th square section, so we are now ready for the final squares, and this is going to be in this sequence. So we are going to start from right to left, and it will be black cherry, pink berry smoothie, cranberry, off-white, and ochre. And this is going to be our last color combination. If you are working the basic pattern, again, change color as we learned on the first color change between the first and second section. You work 11 rows. I'm working, for my sample, I'm working 4 rows, and I'll meet you at the end. We will not cut the color or the yarn rather at the end of the 11th row, because we will still need to do bind off, and the bind off is going to be in the corresponding color as per our last square. So we are going to do something similar as we've done with the foundation chain, where we've had the foundation chain and then 4 rows for me, 11 rows for you in the same color. So we're going to repeat that on the top of our project. So go ahead, work your 11 rows, and I'll meet you at the end for the final step, which is bind off. Welcome back. We are now on the very last row where we are going to bind off. So we've got all our sections. We've got still all the yarn attached to our project, and now we are going to work the Tunisian simple stitch bind off. So it's very easy. We are going to go into the next stitch as for Tunisian simple stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, but instead of keeping the loop on the hook, we are now going to pull through the previous loop, or the loop that was already on the hook. So we've got now 1 loop left. We are going to go ahead, do that again, all the way up to the last stitch in this black cherry. Going to insert the hook, but instead of using the same color, we are now going to pick up the next color. Do that, and what it does, it basically collapses the last loop onto the section of the same color rather than carry over the loop onto the next square. So if you're working in the same color, doesn't really matter. However, if you want the squares to be nice and even, have 4 equal sides, you need to change on the last stitch. So we're going to now do the same for the pink berry smoothie. We are going to bind off using the Tunisian simple stitch bind off up to the last stitch. We still insert the hook, but we will now yarn over with the cranberry and continuing in this color. Again, I'm on the last stitch, going to pick up the off-white, yarn over with that one, work through this section, up to the last stitch, and now I'm going to get the last color, which is ochre, work all the way through to my last stitch, and we are going to bind off the end stitch in exactly the same way. So work the end stitch, pull it through. Now we can cut our yarn, pull it through the loop, and that's it. We are just now going to cut the rest of the colors. We've got quite a few ends to weave in, but I think the effort is worth the final project. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So as I mentioned at the beginning, the pattern, if you are watching the video in the few days after it was published, the pattern is not going to be on the blog for a few weeks. I have scheduled it to be published at the end of January. So at the moment, the pattern tutorial is exclusive to YouTube. And after the end of January, you'll be able to find it on my blog and also in my Ravelry and Lovecrafts shop. So, and always, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for all your lovely comments and for your support. You know who I mean? Those two ladies who supported me last month. Thank you very much. And as always, like, share, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.